Hello, my name is Steve Simpson, and I'm a Salesforce Certified Technical Architect and Architect Instructor. And I'm sharing with you my architect insights on SteveTechArc.com website and YouTube channel. This video is in my integration series, and we're talking about mastering the Salesforce APIs, reaching into the cloud like a pro. What we're going to be talking about is if Salesforce Core is a space that contains your data, your configurations, how would you, from an outside process, be able to reach in and either push data, pull data, or update data? We'll be going through the options available. In a previous video, I described the Salesforce product party. Some dance on Core, some do their own thing. And in this diagram, I demonstrate that the number of different Salesforce products and how many of them coexist together. You'll see in the top left corner that the Sales Cloud, CPQ, Service Cloud, the industry clouds, and the customizations, S-Objects, LWCs, they all coexist in the core Salesforce services, along with integrated Experience Cloud and the Event Bus. And then the other products have separate hostings. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be looking and focusing in on Salesforce Core. So if we look over here, this is my diagram for describing how you would reach into Salesforce Core. From a browser on the right-hand side, you would first authenticate at login.salesforce.com for production. Your browser would receive a session token, and then you would then be able to access your instance web server. You have the Salesforce through the UI, and also coming into there could be the CTI JavaScript for computer telephony. Now, if you were reaching in through a Salesforce experience or portal, you can have some pages marked as not public, not authenticated, and other pages marked as authenticated. It is marked as a different instance endpoint in the trust.salesforce.com, but it shares the same memory space. You can create sites pages. These are visual force pages, which have no required authentication. That's on the site's web server. And then there are additional mechanisms, which is the web to lead and web to case. Using the web to, it's a servlet. So these are the mechanisms that a browser would use in order to reach and write data. Additionally, on the bottom right, email can enter into Salesforce. You can have email to case. You can also have Apex email services where you can write your own email handler and handle incoming emails. On the left side of the diagram, you're going to have clients. When I say clients, these are in processes that can reach in and push and pull data. They could be things from mobile devices to other servers. And in Salesforce has a significant number of available web services, some of which are versioned, and I'll demonstrate what that is, and some of them are not versioned. The versioned ones are the ones that Salesforce is releasing and maintaining and having backward compatibility based on version number releases. The non-version ones are your custom Apex and custom REST and SOAP. And because Salesforce they don't go under the versioning scheme, so the URLs will stay persistent. And you look under the version web services, there's a significant number of web services. We're going to start taking a look at which one should you choose under which scenarios. So what we're going to do is, this is a nice little web page, which is what API do I use? And we're going to use it as a high-level summary. So if you're just trying to read and write S-object data in reasonable numbers of records, then the REST API is going to be your best bet. It gives you synchronous, which means immediate interactions on reading, writing, updating. Now, if you're calling in from an older technology stack, you could use the SOAP API using the WSDL. However, most people are moving away completely towards the REST. So the SOAP API would only be there if you absolutely needed it. You'll see that there is a Connect REST API, which gives you the power for doing a lot of processing on the Salesforce system. We'll talk about what it gives you. We have custom Apex REST that you would, if you wanted to wrapper your own Apex web services, this would be a very good option. You have custom SOAP. And again, because SOAP is not really being utilized much, I have not built one of these in a while. If you are reaching into the Einstein Analytics, where the product formerly known as Einstein Analytics, you'd use the Analytics REST. The user interface REST is a way to pull a lot of the UI elements of the sales and kind of build your own user interface, a Salesforce, getting things such as pick list values and other key user interface capabilities. The GraphQL is an amazing new API which allows you to pull in multiple things in a single call, and you get to specify exactly what you want. So I think there's a lot of excitement and emphasis coming in on the GraphQL. Now, if you're going to be working on the tooling API, that's where you're going to be potentially reading and writing metadata. You could then use the actual metadata API. You have moving significant amount of records, hundreds or thousands or even millions of records. You would use the bulk API. And for eventing, the pub sub. And this goes into and talks when to use the REST. You'll see for certain projects. The SOAP, again, don't recommend. The Connect REST gives you a lot of chatter feeds, user groups. The Apex REST for your custom analytics. Your user interface will give you capabilities on the UI, GraphQL, tooling, bulk, and metadata. So, and then the new PubSub API is giving you the ability to get really high performant change data capture, platform events. Okay. Now, you can also drill into detail here on this URL, developersalesforce.com docs API, and you can drill in and get the details. Here's the GraphQL, and here are a number of endpoints. Some of these APIs are on Core, and some of them, such as B2C Commerce, Einstein API, B2C Commerce, some of these APIs exist on the other stacks that I demonstrated. So this is where you're going to get a lot of really good information, and I'm going to scroll down to the REST API. You can go into the reference, and this will give you the detailed reference across. Make sure you're utilizing the correct version number for the current release. Okay. Now, to demonstrate some of the APIs, I'm going to make a call to the auth server, and I'm going to get this authentication token. And then I'm going to go to this, let's go to this query right here, and I'm going to place a new authentication token here. Now, I have just requested the V58 services and with no other URL at the end using my endpoint. Now what it's doing is it's giving me a full list of the available endpoint web services that are available in V58. If you wanted to know how many versions are still being supported, you can remove that and hit send, and this will show you the current backward compatibility. At this moment, Summer 14 version 31 is still available, all the way up to Summer 23 version 58. And so what you'd be able to do is you can see that if I went in and changed the URL to V31, I'm going to see just about 34 different endpoint URLs for web services. But if I go to 58, the current production release, you'll see that the number is now up to over about 50. So new web services have come available. So this allows you to see the different web services per version, and then from there you'll be able to call them. Now if you want, you can also get a Postman collection here, which allows you to, if you wanted to have the bulk 1, the bulk 2, it'll walk you through the details of making REST calls, access, and as such. So this is a way in which you can tap into and use those APIs. And if you want to get the details of this, there is a GitHub, Postman, Salesforce APIs. And so this will then allow you to make your calls. So as I indicated, you can be reaching in from a client application, hitting the web services. You'll be hitting the version web services or the non-version web services. So this is a roadmap for how, as an external actor, you would reach into Salesforce, pushing or pulling data. Either here are the browser interactions on the right, and here would be a web services on the left. Both are utilizing, the same authentication server, login.salesforce.com and login.salesforce.com/services/OAuth2. I hope this was helpful to give you a high-level roadmap of how you reach in and out of Salesforce Core and even the other clouds. The key is diving in, use Postman or an equivalent tool, get familiar with the APIs, study the API documentation. I've shown you the links of where you can find that, and just get comfortable in starting to and practice as you move the data in and out. So I'll be providing more details on specific APIs in other videos. So thanks for diving in Tech Fun, and keep rocking the digital realm.